Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Unfog with Dr. Atahar Parvin. In this session, we are going to discuss the science pedagogy most expected questions, and this will be the part 3 lecture on this part. And of course, this class will be very much useful for Karnataka TET, TGT, HSTR, GPSTR, and all other teacher entrance exams and teacher recruitment examinations. Okay. So if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe right now. And also if you like my work, please do like my videos and also share among your friends and other aspirants. Okay, so let us start this session's important multiple choice questions. So the first question of this session is, which of the following is an example of an open-ended question in a science classroom? So 4 options are given. You have to find out which one is an open-ended question. So what is the capital of France? Define photosynthesis. Why does a rainbow form after rain? List the planets in our solar system. So by reading the options, one thing which comes in our mind is specific answers are there for capital of France, definition of photosynthesis and list of planets. But option C, why does a rainbow form after rain, is a different type of question, and these type of questions are known as open-ended questions which require some thoughtful responses, and these type of questions only encourage the learners to think deeply, because anyone can answer these questions, option A, option B and option D, but option C cannot be answered by everyone or anyone, because this needs some thoughtful process in order to give the response for this type of a question. So such type of questions are known as open-ended questions. Okay, so what is the thoughtful response you will need to answer this question? It is that first white light will be coming from the sun and it will fall on the water droplet. Their refraction takes place, dispersion takes place, total internal reflection takes place. Again that light ray, again it comes back from the drop by touching the surface of the drop, and again refraction happens, and then the rainbow is seen by us, that is the observer. Okay, so these type of questions are known as open-ended questions. Okay, so option C will be the correct answer for this question. Next question. How can a teacher encourage scientific curiosity among students? The options are by providing all answers in advance, by discouraging questions, by limiting hands-on activities, by nurturing questions and exploration. So how can a teacher encourage scientific curiosity among the students? It is by nurturing questions and exploration, because the teacher would always like to encourage the curiosity, which involves the fostering the environment. Here questioning and exploration are more valued, and thereby the learners will have a chance to explore the scientific concepts, and thereby there is increase in curiosity among the students, which is a very good sign in order to understand the conceptual parts in science. Okay, so option D, by nurturing questions and exploration, is the correct answer. Next question. What does zone of proximal development, ZPT, mean in science education? So what does this ZPT mean? It means that the range of tasks a student can't do alone, but he or she can do with the help. Okay, with the help. That help can be given by other students or by the teacher. So this is known as zone of proximal development, ZPT. So this actually refers to the tasks a student can't do independently, but can achieve that same task with guidance. Okay, so mostly this guidance is given by the teacher. Okay, so this is the expected question and it is very important question. So better know at least the full form of ZPD. It is zone of proximal development. Okay. Next question. A teacher uses real life problems to teach scientific concepts. What teaching approach is being employed? So a teacher is using real life problems to teach the scientific concepts. The approach which is being employed by the teacher is a inquiry based learning. So this involves using real world problems to engage students in the learning process. Okay. So right from the first class, I mean to say from the previous two classes, we are always coming across this term rote memorization or rote learning, right? So I thought that it's better you all know what it actually is. So rote memorization means nothing but by hearting. Okay. Rote learning or rote memorization deals with by hearting, like children by heart the rhymes. They don't know the meaning, they are just by hearting. Okay, even we used to do the same thing in our school, right? That English poems or Hindi poems or Kannada poems, we used to just by heart, and there used to be one examination of reading and recitation. That day we used to read a part of a lesson, and also the teacher would ask us to recite the poem. We don't know the meaning, we have just by hearted, we are going to recite that poem. Okay, so that is known as rote memorization. Okay, basically it is a process of learning just by repeating information without fully understanding that information. Okay, so this basically involves memorizing through repetition and recall. Often we are doing this by hearting. This is done without knowing the meaning of that part. Okay. So coming back to the option, the correct answer to this question is inquiry based learning, because this is the one which involves a usage of real world problems in order to engage students in the learning process. The teacher always approaches this type of learning. Okay. Next question. A teacher uses storytelling to explain scientific phenomena. What strategy is being employed? Four options are there: memorization, rote learning, storytelling approach, narrative pedagogy. So the answer to this question is a narrative pedagogy. So narrative pedagogy is one way wherein the teacher uses the concept of storytelling to explain the scientific phenomenon to the students. Okay. Next question. What is the primary goal of integrating technology into science teaching? So what is the main goal of usage of integrating technology, especially in teaching science? The options are replacing traditional teaching methods, making the teaching process complex, enhancing engagement and understanding, saving time in the curriculum. So the correct option for this question is enhancing engagement and understanding. Because the technology can make learning more interactive and appealing. So this is the integrated technology which is enhancing the engagement and understanding among the students related to the scientific concepts. Okay. Here option C, enhancing engagement and understanding, is the correct answer for this question. Next question. What is the primary focus of using the 5E model in science teaching? So what is this 5E model? This 5E model is nothing but engage, explore, explain, elaborate and evaluate. So this is a very important question. Okay. So the 5E model, which includes engaging, exploring, explaining, elaborating and evaluating, guides the teaching through these phases by promoting active engagement and a deeper understanding of the concepts among the learners. Okay. Next question. A teacher provides students with opportunities to reflect on their learning progress. What aspect of teaching is being emphasized? So the question is, teacher provides students with opportunities to reflect on their learning progress. So what is the aspect of teaching which is being used here? So the correct answer is self-directed learning, because this gives the scope for reflection, and reflection encourages students to take ownership of their learning. Okay, that's why teacher is emphasizing the self-directed learning here. Next question. What is the significance of using cooperative learning in science education? So, cooperative learning is very important when it comes to science education. Why is it so? What is the significance? What is the importance? The importance is that it enhances the collaboration and communication skills. Because cooperative learning is usually a teamwork, and it also increases the communication among the learners with each other and also with the teacher. Okay, so option C is the correct answer. Next question. How can a teacher support students' intrinsic motivation in science learning? By relying solely on external rewards, by providing irrelevant activities, by offering choices and autonomy, by using only summative assessments. So the correct option is by offering choices and autonomy, because this is like allowing students to make choices by promoting their sense of ownership and motivation in learning. So that's why teacher always supports students' intrinsic motivation, especially when it comes to science learning. Okay. Okay friends, these were the very important questions based on science pedagogy. If you have not watched session 1 and session 2, then please do watch session 1, session 2, and of course this present session is session 3. These 3 sessions include all the important multiple choice questions from science pedagogy part. Okay then, thank you, all the best, bye.